The poetry chronicles the profound emotions experienced by those who view the wall. No one imagined the tremendous emotional impact the Vietnam War Memorial would have on our nation. Chrissy. In the shade of a maple, she sits on the ground at a distance from the wall, looking at a name she knows is there. Her father's. Killed near Khe Sanh 2 months before she was born 16 years ago. You look exactly like him, she is told. And she does. She knows from her mother's photo album. But today, she sits contemplating his love for her love for him. So much a part of her growing up, beautiful, but without his seeing her, holding her, without hearing him call her name. The handsome first lieutenant who would have been so proud of her dad. Tommy. The kid I grew up with in a small Kansas town that we filled with cowboys and Indians all summer long. Teenagers. We were inseparable. We had a circus finding ourselves, our true selves amid all possibilities. And then there was love, our first love. We both fell in love with Connie Blair, but we never told her. We didn't dare. And then you chose the Army, and I chose the Navy. 2 weeks after the senior prom, I'll never forget, we said goodbye without saying goodbye. Today, I placed a rose at the base of the wall beneath your name. Carter M. Miles. In front of the black granite wall, he sits in his wheelchair, looking at the names of 3 buddies killed May 17th, 1969, by the same mortar that took his leg, leaving him with memories more painful than the stump, the surgery, the therapy, in a series of hospitals for more than a year, but of little importance compared to the names. The tears he tries to brush away, the love, the passion only those in that foxhole under fire would know. Now gone, except in him, leaning forward in his wheelchair, staring at the wall, unwilling, refusing, not about to move. Joey. 47 dead, 83 wounded. CBS confirmed it. Had it on 6 o'clock news, white on blue. No mention of Joey who died that day. The 19-year-old, raised by his grandmother, his parents both dead. The blonde-headed kid who sold ice cream cones at the zoo every summer until he dropped out of high school, only to return to graduate before joining the Army, the Airborne. Death from above, he wrote from Fort Campbell, before his assignment to Vietnam. To die in action in Pleiku, volunteering to scout behind enemy lines, saving hundreds of men who would live long after his name was etched here, on the bottom line of the wall. Still easy to overlook, unless you fought with him. Chip. In a winter twilight, they walk away, their heads bowed, on and on. They pass behind the floodlights, illuminating the lists, day by day, of those killed. But they have seen enough of the wall for now. Eyes still filled with tears that blurred, that always blurred the name of their son. Panel 24W, line 16. Chip, they called him. No one remembers why, though his mother says it was short for his favorite kind of cookie as a child. He was 19 when he died, 3 weeks after he arrived at Da Nang. Medical corpsman, killed on a rescue mission when the chopper exploded, leaving nothing but silence. His silence, in which they think of him. That young, smiling, bright-eyed kid who was always up to something. Who couldn't wait to be a Marine. Chip. The name of an angel. With trembling lips he stands there, scarred by war. One hand is gone. He He tries desperately to thank the man who appeared and knelt by his side while others fled. The man who carried him through the jungle to safety, ignoring his pleas to be left behind. A soldier he hardly knew, whom he would never see again, whose name, panel 22W, line 12, is etched more deeply in his memory than in the wall.
I'll never understand why I have to do this for Thurston. Make his pot of coffee. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Thurston, turn it up a bit. I have a better voice than him anyways. This is radio station OKKK, tuning in from Greater Tuna, Texas. Serving the Greater Tuna area of more than 275 watts. Signing on. Greater Tuna by Justin Williams. Good morning, everybody. This is Thurston Williams. And on the news today, we got the winner of the Tuna Junior High American Heritage Essay Contest. And this year's winner is Connie Cobb. She's the daughter of W.H. and Vera Cobb here in Tuna. Her essay was entitled Human Rights. Why bother? Second place went to Jimbo Beaumont for Living with Radiation. And our third place finalist went to Levita Posey for her essay entitled The Other Side of Bigotry. I tell you, folks, with subjects like that, I don't know how they ever picked a winner. Should make the citizens of Tuna proud to know we're still producing well-educated students who know what America's all about. Oh, but I got some bad news for the Greater Tuna area. Former County Judge Roscoe Buckner died early in his home yesterday. Buckner, who was a judge for more than 47 years and killed more people in the 30s than any other active judge, had a history of heart trouble. Now, his body lie at state at the Wexel Hubert Funeral Home starting today at noon. Wexel Hubert says if you come before noon, you're just gonna have to wait because the judge just won't be there. I tell you, folks, that is some bad news. It is. Now, on the art scene, the off-again, on-again editions for the Tuna Little Theater production is on again. It's been called off due to lack of budget. But Joe Bob Lipsy, who's a former graduate of Western Texas Eastern A&I State University, said he found a way to go ahead with it, using the sets and costumes off of last year's production of South Pacific. Joe Bob says this is the first production ever of My Fair Lady set in Polynesia. So Joe Bob says grab your grass skirts and your wine shirts and get on down there to the Cowlady Baptist Church. Oh yeah, I got that farm report. Well, it's gonna be an incomplete report. Not all the information's in yet. But I got beef up and pork down and chicken West Elliott. Don't know much about them sow bellies. But I do know it's time for word from my sponsor, D.D. Snevlish from D.D.'s Used Weapons. And here's D.D. now to tell you a little bit about him. Does the high cost of security have you, Blue? Come by the store and browse through our complete selection of used guns and knives. Or find what you need in our Mason Tear Gas department. Now, we understand that many people are hesitant in buying used weapons. But all of Dee Dee's weapons are guaranteed to kill. Now, if you find one that won't, you bring it back to us and we'll give you something that will. It's our guarantee. If Dee Dee's can't kill, it's immortal. And thank you, Dee Dee. Now let's go from a word from Penelope Fisk from the Greater Tuna Humane Society. Penelope. This is Penelope Fisk speaking to you for the Greater Tuna Humane Society. And I'd like all you to stop and think about ducks. Ducks have it tough. And cartoons portray ducks as genetic mutes with speech impediments. The actual word duck, when used with the verb, means to lower the body position to avoid an injury. So when you say duck to somebody, they don't know whether you're talking about a bird or an accident. And the Chinese eat their feet. Now, you may not know, but we got an actual duck crisis going on right here in Tuna. Ever since the governor flooded Buckner Basin, we've been up to our necks in homeless ducks. the Humane Society published a pamphlet, Trapping Without Trauma, and we're sending one to every home in Tuna. You bring me Penelope Fitz, that trap duck, and I will find a home for it. Thank you, Penelope. Now let's go to our weatherman, Harold Dean Latimer. Harold Dean, what's it gonna be like today? Well, a bit of everything. We're expecting a lot of rain from the north and the south and the west. A little from the east. Don't worry about mid-morning. I've cleared up, and by noon it should be unbearably hot and humid. Oh, and there are just big old swarm of locusts coming in this way. But don't worry, they'll get blown away by tropical storm Luther that's headed this way. Tropical storm, yeah. Oh, yeah, tropical storm Luther. It's going to hit here about, 10 o'clock. And it's going to bring a lot of rain. So it's going to be wet and cloudy and miserable, and it's going to rain, folks. So get out your raincoats back. Folks, back to you, Thurston.
Did you hear that, folks? Rain. You know, Harold Dean does such a good job. I'll be driving into work at 4:30 in the morning. I'll look out in the field. There's Harold Dean standing in God only knows what kind of weather. I seen him up to his neck in snow. Do you remember that time he spotted a waterspout? It picked him up and threw him in Dewey County, but he still got that reported on time. Thank you, Harv. This just in, a UFO, that is an unidentified flying object, has been spotted by Snavely over Lake Mobet. Snavely says it looks like a gigantic hoovering chalupa without the guacamole. In the world news, the peace talks failed as attack is imminent. That's all the news we got for you. Let's go to another word from Penelope Fitz.
This is Penelope Fitz speaking to you for the Greater Tuna Humane Society. We receive a lot of flack here saying we're insensitive to the needs of fish. This is not true. We understand that when you take a fish out of the water with a hook in its mouth, rip it through its lip, get a knife and stick it in its anal, and rip it up in its lip, get a spoon and dig out its inside. The fish feels it. He's just very soft about it. So join the other of 1 million Americans who prefer their fish in lakes and streams, and not on a plate with tater tots. Back to you, Thurston.
Well, folks, I'm going to say good night to y'all. Good night. And remember our motto here at radio station OKKK. If you find someplace better than tuna, move!
In 1939, what was to become the most brutal war in the history of mankind began, World War II. The Axis powers methodically invaded and overran country after country. They were ruthless. If something stood in their way, they destroyed it. In 1941, Germany, Russia, and Hungary divided up the country of Czechoslovakia, which included the territory of Bohemia. The German Reich occupied all towns and villages, murdered everyone who opposed or contradicted them. Reinhard Heydrich, a German, was sent to the village of Lidice. There, he was supposedly killed by rebellious townspeople. They retaliated by demolishing the village of Lidice. The Murder of Lidice by Edna St. Vincent Millay. It was all 600 years ago. It was 7, and if a day, that a village was built, which you may know by the name of Lidice, on the fair Danubian plain, rich in cattle and rich in grain, and far Bohemia. Now, how did the year turn? How did it run? In the year 1941, in the village of Lidice, first came spring, with planting and sowing. Then came summer, with haying and hoeing. Then came Heydrich, the hangman, the Hun. Husband, why is your face so gray? My face is gray with fear. Heydrich the hangman died today of his wounds. The men clad no say. Good riddance to wicked rubbish, I say.